Hey everybody, I think we live. It's say we live. If we ain't live, we'll be live in a few seconds. Y'all do me a favor, y'all. Like this video, share this video, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Make sure you check your notification bell to make sure that you get your notifications, okay? YouTube sent out a real notification. That was quick. They might show me some love tonight, y'all. This is on MX Network. So for everybody that's watching, if you do not want to watch these commercials, you can head over to MX Network, you guys, and watch over there, which we are about to turn on right now. And then y'all gonna get a notification. Shout out to everybody over on MX Network. So you guys can go over there. We have a chat over there if you are new to this and not true to this, but you can become true to this even though you new to this, okay? You go over to MX Network today, and by tomorrow, you true to this, okay? And not new. Hey, Jordan. We already got some folks in the chat. You can talk over on MX Network just like you can talk in the chat over on YouTube as well, you guys. We got super chats and everything over there. Shout out to Lady Elect in the house. Okay, you guys, we got a conversation to have tonight. Share this video. Share this video. I'm not gonna do a whole lot of cussing and telling people what they should go suck on if they say something stupid to me. I ain't gonna talk about y'all mamas or nothing like that. Okay, so you could send this to your church friends. You can send this to all the people that say, I don't like all that cussing she be doing. Because we got some serious conversations to have. I'm okay, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna try not to cuss nobody out in the chat. Just look, act like you got some sense around here, okay? And somebody said, please cuss. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna start off with this as people get in here, right? This is a conversation that is gonna shock you, right? Shout out to one of the channel members in the house. Shout out to you. Thank you for being a channel member. You guys, I made a video earlier, talking about some stuff. So as people are getting in here, let me say this. I did make a short. You guys might have seen my shorts. But I'm gonna reiterate it. Don't come in here and be stupid. I can't stand stupid people. I really can't. At this age, I just want y'all to have like some common dang sense. I really do. Okay. Can y'all do that? We're all grown. If you're a little kid, I'm gonna give you a pass. Okay. But if you're a little kid, you should probably be your ass in the bed. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting myself in front of everybody. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm gonna cut it off because the kids might be watching. I gotta fix some things over here. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I was in there jumping around a little too much. Okay. I think I'm fixed. Hi everybody, I'm back. That was a quick, short break. But let me say something. Don't be stupid. Okay? Don't do that. We're all grown. Have some sense in here unless you're a kid. Hey, shout out to Carbon Q. I love you, my Pisces sister in the house. Let me tell y'all something. I did a video earlier. If you didn't see it, go watch it about the technology with the shopping carts. Now, y'all been watching me for a long time. For those of y'all that are my day ones, or you've been around, if you've just been around me for probably 2 years, not even the whole 5-6 years I've been on YouTube, you know that I've talked about this, right? I told y'all they was going to have a technology where you're going to go into the store. First of all, we know that shelves can be stocked with automation. It's the same automation that is used with Amazon, right? That's why everybody getting fired from Amazon. They have automation that can pack those orders and do what they need to do in the warehouse. They don't need people anymore, right? So grocery stores are the same way. They don't need a person to stock their shelves for them, okay? But now they have these baskets. I told y'all they was going to create these. And the baskets, you go grocery shopping, you put the thing in the cart, and guess what? It brings up your groceries in the cart. You pay on the cart. If you've been around, you know I said this a long time ago. They're going to create this. You pay on the cart. Now, if you think you're going to fill up your cart because ain't no cashiers in the store and ain't nobody around in the store and just going to roll on out, no, the wheels on the basket going to stop if you ain't paid for nothing when you get to the door, right? It's not going to let the basket go through the door, okay? But that exists. Now, I put this video up today, not too long ago, and some of y'all came in the comment section, and I just want y'all to know, y'all stupid, okay? For those of y'all that this shoe fit, wear it. I want you to put it on, tie it up, and just let it be you and think about the stuff that you let come out of your mouth or you type in the comment section, okay? I had people who came in there, and one person was like, why are you trying to scare people? You act like grocery carts are going to change the world. You stupid. If you're the person that said that I just want to give you the you're dumb as hell, you get the number one stupid plaque because first of all, it is changing the world. It's changing the United States of America, right? Then I had somebody, a bunch of y'all coming there and was like, they got this at Sam's Club. They been had this at Sam's Club. Shut the fuck up. Do you not understand what I was trying to tell you on that video? It seemed to go over a lot of people's heads that had the dumb shit to say. I don't give a fuck if they do have it at Sam's Club. Y'all act like this is the norm. I don't believe the video that I showed y'all. That's the only grocery store with these damn baskets. What I'm saying is they're starting to show up and you can actually see them for all of the people who have not seen them yet because they're not everywhere. If you have seen it in your store, good for you. Do you want a mother cookie? See, I censor myself. The kids could watch. Do you want a cookie? The whole point I was making is that this technology is here, okay? And it's about to be everywhere now as the norm. But if your dumb ass is grown, but you so juvenile in your mind that you think because there's one in your grocery store that it's everywhere, it's not. I shop at Sam's all the time. If one of you come in my chat again and say, they got these at Sam's, they've been had this for a little bit now. I go to Sam's, they don't have them at my Sam's. I've never seen any of these carts, okay? You missed the whole point. The point is this, that is one more industry where people will not have jobs. That was the point of the video, but somehow that missed the 2 damn brain cells that you have at your big old age. I'm gonna need you to go stand in the corner. Okay, do that on somebody else's video. Do not do it on mine. All right. The point is, this stuff is here. If you're seeing it at Sam's Club and you've seen it a year ago, good for you, but bad for you. Because what that means is your community actually has started to implement this. So you're probably going to feel it in your community first. And if you're not a cashier, you're still going to feel it. Because if people lose their jobs, crime is going to go up. Okay. So I don't know if you stupid people would like to Google how many people are cashiers in this country, but they're all getting ready to lose their jobs, okay? That was the point of it. So yes, it is something people should be scared of. For the person who said, why are you trying to scare people? I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it is a scary thing when people get laid off from their job and the way the economy is going and the way AI is taking over. People are losing their jobs and they're not finding a new job. And this is everybody from cashiers to people that work in the corporate world. They are losing their jobs and there are no jobs to replace the job that they have lost. How many of you know that Walmart just announced they are going on a 3-year hiring freeze? Do y'all know that? A 3-year hiring freeze. Do you really think that when the hiring freeze is up, that Walmart gonna go back to hiring people? Within those 3 years, they will have implemented all of the automation that they're going to implement. And when those 3 years are up, they're going to fire. They're not gonna go back to hiring. They're going to fire any human being that is left. Okay? That was the point of the video. And for all of you people who are like, I'm not a cashier, what is that going to matter to me? If you've actually seen these carts in the stores in your community, that just means that you're going to feel the wrath first. Because where I live, I ain't seen none of them. They ain't got to my neck of the woods yet, okay? So that was the point that was being made. I've been telling people for forever. I remember I got into an argument on Q Butter's panel about a year ago with a brother who's in the trucking industry. He told me that AI is not going to come and take no truck driver's job that drive 18-wheelers because a truck driver is needed for that job. And AI trucks ain't going to do what they supposed to do when it comes to unhauling it. If a tire get flat or whatever, I guess this man don't know what AI actually does. Because there is no way that you can think that AI is not coming for everybody's job. You must be ill-informed. You have not researched enough and you don't know what's going on. There are 18-wheelers right now with no driving beds in the front because they are driverless 18-wheelers. So I don't know why y'all think this shit ain't coming for your job. That was the point, okay? And I told y'all the story was going to be this way. I'm making also another point that this is one more thing out of like all the stuff I done told y'all. This is like the 4th thing that I've been saying since COVID was getting ready to happen. COVID was the test run for a lot of things, and now they're actually happening. Okay. So that was the point that was being made. I don't feel like I should have to hold grown people's hand in the world. Some of y'all was in there grown as hell. Well, I'm just going to keep growing my food and it doesn't affect me. Okay. Let it not be no food for everybody else. Let it not be nobody able to go in no grocery stores, because you know what happened when people start stealing, they going to jail. The grocery store is going to close down. Crime going to go up. I don't know why people think that when folks is surviving, your garden in your backyard, it's a nice thing now. It's going to be something that's going to attract people to come and take from you, because if people is hungry, you're gonna have to fight some folks off, because they're gonna be in your garden ripping your shit up so that they can eat, right? But y'all think this is a game. A lot of people think this is a joke, and y'all not gonna feel it, some of y'all, until you feel it. When it comes for your household and it sits on your doorstep and it affects your livelihood, right? People should be scared. You should be scared enough to get your ass up and do something before we get here, because I've been telling y'all, when I talk about issues, I like to give you solutions. And for as much as I can, I do. Okay? Because it is something scary about people losing their jobs and not finding another one. Without a job, there is no money. Without no money, you can't pay bills. You can't pay bills. That means you can't keep a roof over your head. You can't feed your family and your kids. That means you become homeless. Yeah, that's a scary thing. For people in the chat that make them dumb comments, if you've never slept in your car or had to get kicked out your house and had to go get in your car because that's all you had left with you and your kids, then you should just shut up, because that's what this country is coming to at a very rapid pace. Okay? Shout out to Walter. Thank you for the $15 holla over here on MX Network. I thank you for that. So y'all, let's have a conversation. I'm going to try and get in and out like a robbery tonight. I don't really want to be here long. Y'all probably tired of looking at my face. I made a video earlier. I just put up a short, and now I'm back again. So I'm going to only make y'all look at my face for just a little while, and I'm going to get out of here, okay? Ain't going to be long. But y'all share this video, like this video, subscribe if you have not, and hit that notification bell, okay? Digital ID. Now, I know that maybe you haven't, but some of us have been hearing about digital ID for a very, very long time. And the first place, if you have understood digital ID, I think we can all point at China as an example of digital ID, you guys, okay? So I'm going to show you some clips. We got a lot to look at tonight, and I'm going to show you some clips about what that looks like exactly in China. We're going to take a look at what some people have to say in the UK, and then I'm going to bring you back to what your own government is telling you right here in the United States of America about digital ID. Now, for anybody who thinks that digital ID is just something that, okay, it's a digital thing and it has the same thing to do with digitally being online, that's not the case, okay? Digital ID is about bringing your identity all into one place to be able to digitally track everything you do back to the person you are. Now, when I told you guys the other day about a company that the government actually works with right now here in the United States, they're called Authentifi. You can go look them up. And if you don't want to do all the research, just go to ChatGPT, type in Authentifi, okay? And they will tell you what Authentifi does, and that it does have a contract with the government. Well, Authentifi is that company I told y'all about that can track you and every footprint you have ever left online. So that company can track every site you've ever signed up for, whatever your searches are, every comment you have ever made online, not just what you have posted, but what you have commented in other people's comment sections. It can also look up any picture that you have been tagged in. And in a matter of minutes, it can give them your whole digital footprint. Not only can it do that, but with its AI enhancements through cameras and things, it has what's called biometrics, which is going to play into your digital ID. This biometric plays into facial recognition. Not only does it look at your face, but it also plays into the recognition of who you are based on how you walk down the street, how you hold your head, and they can say by your body movement and your structure that this is that person based on height, weight, and everything else. And they're going to have all of your information because the digital ID brings all of that together. When you have digital ID, it's also going to be connected to your bank account, okay? So All of your bank account transactions will be something that will digitally be able to be tracked. And for people that are like, are my bank transactions tracked? No, they're in a transaction when you log onto an account where it's held for you to see, but it's not there for other people to see. Okay. We're also going to get into the conversation of how that goes down this slippery slope of going into a social credit society. Okay. I know a lot of you think that this is not going to happen for us, but it is. It is. It's coming. I'm going to show you exactly what a social credit society looks like tonight. Okay. Also, there is another thing you should be mindful of, that with the banks, all of these people, when they talk about the digital ID, even the UK now, and even when you hear other governments like Barbados talking about digital IDs, guess what? They're always equating it to a bank. So they want to connect, right, your things to a bank, and the bank is then going to begin to, they have these cute little apps in the UK and in other places that they say are for fun. But these apps in the bank are actually keeping track of your carbon put out, right? Your CO put out, your carbon footprint. And in that carbon footprint, they give you a number for everything that you do. So let me explain a carbon footprint to you so that when we listen and watch these videos tonight, you will know exactly what I mean by that. So you say, well, how does my bank account have anything to do with a carbon footprint? Well, everything you do produces a carbon footprint when we talk about global warming and what's better for, the environment. Okay. So, they talk really big about that here and everywhere else, that we're destroying the environment. So let me tell you how your bank account works in that. If you call yourself getting on a plane, a train, or in an automobile and you're getting gas, you are actually burning off carbon and you are putting emissions into the air. If you decide to go out to the restaurant, there's a certain portion of waste for you to go and eat. If you go to the grocery store and you buy food, that packaging that you throw away, it's something that you put into the trash landfill. Do you understand what I'm getting at now? Everything that you do and that you buy when it comes to products, transportation, and any leisure or anything that you, even when you order packages in the mail, you might say, how the hell am I putting off carbon? Well, if you have ordered packages, there is a portion that is attributed to you, because guess what? You're putting out CO carbon because the truck has to come and deliver the package to you. The plane has to fly it to your state if it's coming from another state. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So this is how everything you do, from eating, anything that has to do with products or travel, if you can tie anything back to it, right? That is going to be your carbon footprint. But watch this, because when it's all tied into your digital ID, this is how they begin to tell you, you put out too much carbon, and we can lock your account because you have used your portion of carbon this month so far. You cannot put any more carbon footprint out into the environment. Y'all following me? Are y'all following me? Because this is a rabbit hole that we're going down tonight, that is one that is connected to a lot of different things that will be coming for us very soon. And then we're going to end this live tonight by showing you, if you think that this is not coming to the United States of America, Utah is already talking about bringing digital ID. See, it is one thing for the federal government to put something on you, but states can definitely, within their own jurisdiction, states can implement stuff that the federal government has not implemented yet. Every state has their own jurisdiction that has nothing to do with the federal government, right? So there are states that have rules and laws that other states may not have. And this is the way they do it. They get states to bring it in individually. So then other people are using it. It becomes more of the norm in certain states. Then it's a lot easier for the federal government to make it a federal thing. This digital ID is also going to bring us to a one world government. I know people tried to tell me in my chat, that's never going to happen. Okay. I want you to keep on thinking that. Keep on living in la la land. And when the shit hits your front door, just remember Michi told you so. Okay. Because people think that these things are not going to come about. But with all of this digital ID, everything will be connected. No matter where you go in the world, you will be tracked. They will know where you went. Whenever you go through any airport, you think you just have to scan your face now at the airports here for real ID purposes? Why, if my ID is real, why I gotta scan my face? If my ID is real, why do I have to scan my face? You make me get an ID with a star on it. The DMV should have decided I was real when they took my documentation before they gave me that ID. That's why it's an ID. That's a real one. The place who gave me the ID should have verified that I was real. So why, when you go through the airport, are you even having your face scanned? Has anybody thought about that? The reason you're scanning your face at the airport is because a long time ago, when 9/11 happened, again, the government caused something to happen. They caused it. And then they made us, the people, be fearful of the thing that happened. And they said, for your safety and protection, we must do this thing to be more secure at the airport so that we can make sure you're safe. And so many Americans were so distraught over 9/11 and everything that happened in that city. Everybody was scared, right? So they agreed to this. Nobody gave the airport any pushback because we didn't think that what was going to happen was going to go there. But then we happily went to the airport. We get molested. We walk through body scanners, right? They got all of this stuff scanning all your bags, all in your invasion of privacy. You can't bring enough deodorant or no soap to wash your ass and you carry on for more than one day. They got the certain amounts of liquids. And we said okay to that. So now there's no pushback at all. Anytime the airport wants to implement some shit and tell us this is for our safety, this is for our good, so that you are protected, they just implement it now. And we just let them do it because we figure, well, this is what the airport do. We gave the airport the go ahead to be more secure for our safety during 9/11. So now they just implement what they want. I just want everybody for a moment to stop and think, why would you need to scan your face? The scanning of your face at the airport started when you got the real ID. I thought the real ID was supposed to verify me. Why do I need to scan my face? This is nothing more than priming. You get used to getting your face scanned at the airport. Next, you're getting your face scanned at the grocery store. You know why? Because I just told you there ain't going to be no employees in the grocery store. So to get into the store, you're going to need to scan your face. And you're going to say, that sounds crazy. They're not going to do that. Maybe they just going to make you get an app. In order to enter this store, you need an app. So now when you come in the store, we know who you is. You had to scan your app to get in here. So we know your name. We know your address. You're not stealing because we know who you is and we're going to come right to your house if you steal. So we'll just do that, right? But remember, digital ID is going to play into everything that you do online. Do you know that they are starting to require IDs for certain websites? They say that it's the safety of your children because they want to make sure that you are 18 or older to access certain sites. So that is beginning to happen. So guess what? Digital ID, they're going to tell you, is the quick way to verify who you are. So that digital ID is definitely going to tie into that app that you will have to go into the store. Next, your kids are going to have to scan their face to get into the school. They're going to scan their face when it's time to eat lunch so that they can deduct their lunch payment from your credit card, your bank account, right? Sounds real sci-fi-ish. It sounds like it ain't going to happen, but it is. So let me play the first clip that we have tonight. I just want to show you over in the UK some of the talk that's going on because UK is out there protesting. They have been told, if you guys don't know, that they need to get a digital ID and it needs to be implemented by sometime in 2026. If you do not have a digital ID, then you will not be able to get work. Okay? Now, the people there are fighting back and they're saying some things that make a whole lot of sense. It's funny how all of the governments want to use immigrants as an excuse. They allow all of the immigrants to come into this country. They let them come into our country. They let the immigrants come into the UK. The way the immigrants come in, the government is the one that's doing all of that, yes? So they let them come in to cause a problem. They told the people in the UK, and if you get the digital ID, you need this to work, okay? And this is supposed to stop illegal immigrants from working. Y'all, what illegal immigrant do you know that goes and gets a job with a fucking ID? What immigrant do you know? All of the illegal immigrants that I know that are working in any country are doing it under the table, right? So how would making the citizens get digital ID stop people who don't work the right way? They work underneath the table. They don't go about it in the right manner anyway. How the hell would that stop them from working? You would think they would come after these companies and they would tell the companies, if you hire people under the table, which is illegal, we're going to arrest you. Our countries that are talking about this have never done this. Have you seen, with all of this talk of get the immigrants out of here, and by all means, get them the fuck out of here. I don't disagree. Why'd you let them in here in the first damn place? So you could cause the problem and then use that problem you created to shift the people in the direction you wanted them to go? So you could give them a solution to a problem that you should have never caused. But have you ever heard our government and all of this talk about immigration? Have you ever heard them say that we're going to start arresting and fining and closing down companies who hire illegal immigrants because that is actually illegal? I've not heard anybody talk about any of that. That's what these governments should do. If you want to stop people from illegally working, stop the companies who are hiring them, giving them illegal work. A digital ID won't stop that, but this is the explanation they are giving to everybody over in the UK, okay? The UK is saying it's some bullshit. You've been watching it. I've been watching the news channels when this came out a couple of weeks ago. You have people on the news, and they're definitely speaking against it. It's crazy because the news reporters is not having it. They not censored at all. I don't know what's going on, but the UK is not having it. They are not on the news pushing this stuff. They are on the news talking about this is some bullshit. We had one news reporter that was on there. He said, well, I had a job for a very long time. I don't plan on getting a new job until I retire. So I don't need that ID, right? And the person kept saying, well, it's not just for a job. It's to make services and things you need better. Okay? Services. This is the key word here, services. All right? So everybody follow me a little bit more down this rabbit hole before I play this first clip. Services. For you to obtain services and jobs, it proves that you are a legal citizen of the country that you are in. Services meaning what? Like welfare, Social Security payments, disability payments, anything that the government is giving to you. Everybody's losing their job, right? Right? Everybody's losing their job. So there's going to become a service called universal basic income. When they give you that universal basic income, that will be a service from your government. So in order to get that, you don't think you're going to need a digital ID and your digital wallet that's been given to you by the government so they can digitally put your funds on there? And if you don't want the digital ID, then you're not going to get any services. And you know how many people, just like with the COVID vaccination, what they told y'all? They told y'all, right? They told you that during COVID, you didn't have to take the shot. You have a choice. But then they told you if you didn't take the shot, you couldn't work at certain places. So I can't come to work if I don't have the shot. So I can't keep my job. So you really are forcing me, right? You're forcing me. But you're saying it's my choice. They wouldn't let people travel without the shot at one point, right? But you told me I have a choice in the matter. In places like New York, if you did not have a vaccination card, you couldn't even go into restaurants, right? So get ready for that to be the case and for you to be completely shut out of society, any services that the government offers, if you do not accept digital ID. And I know y'all think that this is far off, but wait till we get to the end of this live because Utah is trying to introduce it. But let's see what they have to say over in the UK. Let's play this first clip for you guys.
This is the door closing that's not intended to be opened again. And the idea is everything you do, I mean everything eventually, you will need a digital ID, and your digital ID will be connected to a digital currency. If you want to see what's planned for the West tomorrow, then look at China today, where if you are not behaving in a way that the government wants you to behave, then you lose credits in their social credit system. And if you lose enough, you can't go on a plane, you can't go on a train, basically take part in mainstream society. You are excluded. This is a global agenda. This is not about Keir Starmer, he's a gopher. It's not about Donald Trump, he's a gopher. And they're gophers for this global network that I call the global cult. And the idea is to eventually have a world government which won't be elected, purely appointed, technocrats, bureaucrats, that will oversee this AI digital system. And you won't be able to go anywhere in the world without this system is tracking you. Here we are now looking at this line in the sand, and if we allow it to be crossed, it's going to be very, very difficult to push back. And that's why it's so vital that the people of, well, this country, but all countries, realize the scale of freedom deletion this digital ID is a massive step towards and fundamental to the deletion of freedom.
Okay, so these are what the people over in the UK are talking about. Now I can show you the people protesting and show you the news, but I thought that he gave a really good explanation of what it is that they are trying to do. And I'm trying to think what I should let y'all see next, because I got some clips for you. There's one clip I cannot show you guys because they had music in the background, but it was in the UK. And the crazy part is that there are police officers standing on the street and they're talking to a man. While they're talking to him, somebody is walking across the street on the other side, minding their business, nowhere near, okay, the police officers at all. They stop talking to him and chase this man down and start to arrest him. When they go and ask these people what is going on, they are standing on the street with equipment that scans people's faces, biometrics, baby, their faces and their walk. And as people are walking down the street, you know how the police stand and they got their little machine, and when your car drive past, it let them know if your tags are expired. Well, people walking down the street, this equipment literally tells them if somebody has a warrant for anything. I want you to think about that. So they're talking to him. They run after this dude. He just walking down the street. He don't know what's going on. And they arrest him. Now, somebody stupid, that's the key word tonight. The word of the night is stupid. I remember how we started off this line. Somebody stupid is going to say, well, just don't commit no crime and you don't got to worry about this. And I want to say you stupid, because there are plenty of things that countries enact and consider it to be against the law, and it's a stupid law, and it's not really criminal action. For example, you have some traffic tickets. You're poor and you can't pay them. You got to choose over food on your table or your rent payments. You don't have time to pay them tickets right now. If you're walking down the street and you have a warrant for that, they're going to come and arrest you because you're just walking down the street. So with all of this surveillance everywhere, which does play, we're going to get the next live. We're going to get into all of the surveillance, the companies that our government use, and everywhere that we are being surveillanced right now. You live in an open air prison right here in the United States of America. Okay. And we're going to get into that next, but all of it plays into the digital ID, because as they're walking down the street, they're scanning everybody's faces and they don't know that they're being scanned. And if you come up with a flag that says you have a warrant, the police just going to run up on you. And that warrant could be for everything. I get tired of people assuming that folks that go to jail or have a warrant, they're all murderers and drug dealers and killers and thugs. Some of these people have stupid warrants. They're really being punished for the fact that they're poor. That's really what it is. Because if you taking me to jail because I couldn't pay a damn traffic ticket, that's you punishing me because I'm poor. I'm not really a criminal because I parked my car somewhere real quick to run in and drop off my DoorDash delivery, okay? I'm not a criminal. That's some shit the country came up with that the country can take away, right? So didn't show that video, but I thought that was very interesting because when you look at the technology in these other countries, that's the very same thing that is coming for us. That is the thing that COVID did. It got everybody together. When we talk about the World Health Organization and all of these global organizations that talk about the world, everybody is implementing the same thing. Okay. So let me see. Let's watch another one of these videos. I've been doing good, y'all. Forgive me if I'm ignoring the chat, but then people say dumb stuff and I get off track and y'all be like, Michi, don't talk to the trolls. Just keep going. So I'm using my good camera tonight. So I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at the chat unless I look down. So I don't mean to ignore the people that are making comments, but that's why I ain't cut nobody off tonight, because I ain't seen no dumb stuff they done said. If they done said it, I ain't seen it. So let me play this next video for you. Let me see. It's a lot. What do I want to play for you first? Okay, so that was the UK. Let me show you something real quick. So this is another country. If you feel like, oh, China only does this, well, the UK is implementing it. Utah's talking about it right here in the United States. But then we also have Barbados. So let's hear what they had to say.
Having a chance of having economic activity.
And what are you using? Are you using technology to speed that process?
We are using technology. We've just in Barbados introduced the National Digital Identity Verification Card, and that is to help us expedite the process in spite of what else we are fighting for in terms of our advocacy out here.
But you're talking about a digital identification card?
Digital identity card.
We don't have that in the United States. Explain to me what that is.
A card that helps you to validate who you are digitally, to give you access to other services so that the banks can take a chance on you in a more credible way. But that costs us millions of dollars to do. In the same way, equally, our banks are using a metric which is in fact far more rigorous than yours. You have a metric of 10,000 US for money laundering. Our metric is the equivalent of 5,000 US. So that every transaction over 5,000 US has to be able to be monitored and examined. And the bottom line is that in every instance we are doing, I say this with the Madam Chair, like women, we are doing twice as much as you to be considered half as good as you.
Now, the rest of what that lady got to say, it didn't really matter. But did y'all hear that part? Digital ID, and you heard her bring up banks. You heard about tracking. You heard her talk about how to keep track of certain things that people are doing. Like if I go earn my money, why you gotta track what I do with my shit? I could go pull out $10,000 and throw that shit in the air and make it rain if I want to on the homeless people. I could throw it in the fireplace. I could flush it down the toilet. You're gonna notice when you hear people talk about digital ID, they're also gonna always talk about the bank. That comes into play with that. And America's getting away from cash, y'all. Y'all pay attention to everything else Trump is saying out here. Did y'all pay attention when he first got in office and he was talking about digital currency? Okay. But you're going to notice that digital ID seems to be spoken about in a way that it's always attached to your bank. See, this is the problem that the UK is having right now, because they are talking about using it. First, they said it was just for jobs. Now they're saying, well, we're going to use this in a way that, it will correspond with the bank. Okay. Now let's listen to somebody talk to you so you can understand how them keeping track of your carbon footprint, the bank. And you're like, how are my transactions? I just explained to y'all earlier how you leave a carbon footprint in everything you do, from every product you buy, every time you go out, whenever you travel, when you eat at a restaurant, when you buy a product and you throw away all of that, okay? And so let somebody else explain that to you. And I thought it was very interesting what she said. So instead of telling you, I just want her to tell her, she can tell y'all herself. So listen to this, y'all.
If you have a digital ID, then if you look at Australia, for example, now with the digital identity bill that have passed, your identity is revealed to the state for almost any action that you take, especially online actions. You surf the internet, you are identified on the internet. They are able to tell which websites you went to, what did you purchase, how much time you spent online, whatever, social media, your opinions, you're identified. And so imagine that you're identified and your dissident voice is now known to the government. They can use AI to just really analyze quickly large sums of data and say all the people that talk about whatever permaculture. Right now, we want to put them segment them into a database, see what they're saying about it, pull out those keywords out of it, and all the people that are looking at permaculture in order to avoid the state control over food. I'm just giving an example off the top of my head.
It's a realistic
Yeah, let's go after them. They're identified, and then let's give them a quota of their CBDC of how much they can use to buy fertilizers, for example, because they're going to grow their own food, and we don't want them to do that. We want them to buy the industrial food in the supermarket because we don't want to hurt the economy, right? They have reasons for everything. I'm just giving there are so many examples you can make up.
Okay, so yeah, I do have another one to show you where she goes into the carbon more. But did y'all hear what she just said in that video? I just want y'all to take a moment and take in what the woman said about what she said. So I thought that was very interesting as well when she brought that up, because like she said, and the government here has a company, it's called Authentify. Go look them up. And so what she is saying to you is that they can say, track all of the people online, right, who are she's talking about how food is not what it's supposed to be. We talk about that all the time, right? How we have poisonous food, we don't have this, we don't have that. I had somebody who came in my comment section earlier today and was like, well, I grow my own food, so I don't need to go to the grocery store. I don't know what they had to do with the carts and shit, but they wanted us to know that. So they grow their own food, right? So for all of the people online talking about growing their own food, they can track all of y'all. They can limit what you can spend when it comes to buying seeds or any of those type of things, or fertilizer, like she said, or block you from buying it, because they don't want you to be able to grow your own food, and they can stop you by blocking those transactions, not letting you buy fertilizer, because they done surf the whole internet and they know within a matter of minutes all the people who are involved in these conversations will just be natural. Grow your own food. Do you see how this goes very deep to the type of stuff that they can use to regulate when they are watching you? They can identify who you are from every aspect. Now, the digital ID will give them permission to attach all of your stuff, because that's what's going to make you authentic. That is why they call their company Authentify. So they're going to say, well, you have a digital ID. The fact that I can run through the system and see all your pictures, everything you've said online, I can verify that you're really who you are, because we can track what you've done and say, yeah, this is this person. We see all their pictures online. We see their stuff. We see everywhere they've lived, their move. We have all their information. So this is definitely them. And they're going to tell you that all this information is stored in a database somewhere, and it won't be to the public. I'm not worried about the motherfucking public. I'm worried about the government having my information like this, that they don't have the right to, but they're going to try and con everybody into thinking that this is such a good damn thing. Somebody says, so basically move in silence as much as possible. Kim, you're not going to be able to move in silence. You're not going to be able to move in silence. You're not. And did you hear how she said they have digital ID in Australia? That's what I'm saying. It used to just be China, but now it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Matter of fact, let's go over and let's go look at some of what China deals with. Let's talk about that. Let's go look at China, so that you guys can get an understanding of what digital ID does and how it plays into a social credit. People say that a lot, but do y'all know what a social credit system looks like in society? So let's look at this, and then I'm going to show you how America is already moving in that direction from something we discussed the other night. A lot of rabbit holes here tonight, y'all. I know it's a lot. I'm talking fast. It's a lot to be said. Y'all gonna have to learn to connect the dots with me, because it's a lot going on in this conversation. One thing leads to another and to another. So let's go look at what they do to people in China with their digital ID and their social credits. And they've had this before COVID, right?
Big change could be coming to how.
Nope, that's not the one. Hold on.
When we visited China, this shocked us. Everywhere we went and travelled, like hotels, trains, and even tourist attractions.
And here you have facial recognition.
Our faces were scanned, and just like that, our personal details popped up on a computer screen, passports and all. In China, a digital score decides what rights you get. A good score brings good benefits. A low score well, you can lose everything. People branded untrustworthy are blacklisted, their names and addresses plastered on cinema screens for public shame, and over 23 million people are already on that list. And once you're blacklisted, life stops. You can't buy train tickets, get a bank loan, rent an apartment, or even send your kids to a private school. One journalist was banned from travelling just for investigating corruption.
I worry because I think many people like me will be deprived of individual freedoms.
And now the UK is thinking about bringing in mandatory digital ID cards.
You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
As parents, we have to ask this question. Is this protecting families, or is this the first step towards a digital dictatorship?
Okay, so let me talk to you real quickly, you guys, and remind you of the conversation we had the other night. And then we're going to look at somebody else who lives in China, and they're going to talk about what things are like there, right? So do you remember when we talked the other night when we were having the conversation, okay, about what? Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Quick little break. But when we were talking about the morale, so like if you guys watched that and you was like, wait a minute, so if you have your facial recognition, you go around all of these places, if you do something wrong, you can't, do anything, and what they consider to be, not moral, okay? Do you remember we just had that conversation on White House Gov? You can go to White House Gov right now, okay? And I told you that Trump signed an executive order. Follow me down this rabbit hole, okay? He signed an executive order talking about what they consider to be domestic terrorism, okay? And then they came up with this list of things that is considered to be violent political rhetoric. Remember we had that conversation? Violent political rhetoric. And it plays into the things that will flag people into red flag and can cause you to be looked at if you have this type of rhetoric. If you don't remember, you didn't see the live, go watch the live about it, okay? So we talked about what was on that list. This is at the whitehouse.gov right now, okay? On that list were things like, y'all remember that if people speak and they are anti-American, so if we talk about America in a bad way, that's a flag. If you are anti-American morality, do you remember I said, well, what the fuck is America's morality? America is a very devious, evil country, the way that they treat and use their citizens and wage war on us. So what is considered American morality? What would that be? Okay. But if you speak against America's morality, they say that these are a flag. I'm not making this up. It's on whitehouse.gov. Go look at it for yourself, right? There was also stuff that said your rhetoric online is anti-Christian. So if you speak against Christianity, that video I did talk about them pastors the other day, that's the flag. Talking about America right now in this video, that's the flag, right? They said if you are anti-capitalism, so if you talk bad against capitalism, these are the things that were on that list, and there were even more things on that list. But the one that was really catchy was, first of all, this is America. So we're considered domestic or terrorist, or at least we can be flagged or looked at for speaking these things because it's considered violent political rhetoric. If I speak against America, if I speak against capitalism, if I speak against Christianity, and if I speak against America's morality, when we have no idea, what is that morality? Our president is a felon. What morality? Now I'm a felon, so I ain't mad, but I'm saying, what's the morality? I don't know, because America is full of like organizations like the Child Protective Services. Sex traffics more children than anybody. 83% of all children found and rescued from sex trafficking were actually in foster care and in the custody of Child Protective Services at the time of being rescued. What? We have police brutality everywhere. We have racism everywhere. What is the morality of America that we can't speak against? They also said that you cannot, while I'm saying that, one of the things they said that you also can't speak against is you can't call them fascists, say that they are authoritative, or you can't say that they are oppressive, and you cannot say these things against the government or officials or police departments. So now you can't even talk about the police and say that they oppressive, they're fascist, they're authoritarian, the things that they do to us. You're not even allowed to speak against those organizations. All of this was written there. So they're setting us up quietly while we're paying attention to all of this other bullshit. Those executive orders have been signed. Okay? And they're lining up what we should say, what we can't say. I told you our freedom of speech is getting ready to be locked down on. But more importantly, what you have heard so far from what people have said, even in China, they're going to have this same social credit system when it comes to digital ID, currency, and everything else. And you are not going to be able to speak against these things, and Identify is going to help them, like that lady just said. So she talked about food, right? The government is going to use that to identify groups of people online who their posts and the things that they say speak against the government, capitalism, right? Christianity, the police. I'm not making this up. They said that, right? So this is where we're going to get red flagged. And then when they find out that everybody that's doing this, they can penalize you when it comes to your social credit score. We thought that FICA credit code was a motherfucker. We was worried about getting more than a 550. Everybody wanted 800. You better be worried about this social credit score. So they're already setting us up to say what's moral and what's not. Just like in China, if you do something that's immoral against them and their society doesn't agree in it, you get penalized for that. You can't travel. Can't send your kids to private school. They lock your cars. They only allow you rations of what you can buy. They limit your funds. And even if you don't take a universal basic income, if all banking and digital ID is done through having a digital ID, even if you work and earn your own money, if you're not with the digital ID or in the bank, you will be able to purchase or do nothing, even if you have your own money, if you do not make the change. Let's look at another video, you guys, about what people go through living in China. Let's look at their social credit score a little bit more.
If you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened pre-corona in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is the sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kids' lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away. Israel is already talking about the fourth shot. Then they're going to be going to herpes, and they're going to ask if you're gay. They're going to be asking if you ate 3 pizzas this week because it's unhealthy. If you buy certain books from certain countries, your country doesn't like you. You'll lose points in the social credit score system. So this is already the reality of the world in certain places, and we need to be aware of that if we don't want that or if we do. And to be perfectly honest, anybody who wants this vaccine passport, it's a misnomer. It's total control. Everything you do or don't do will be calculated to the point where if they can detect your GPS signal, if you have a phone on you, they can detect who you're hanging out with. Oh, you're hanging out with somebody that said something bad 9 years ago on Weibo, okay, like a Chinese equivalent to Facebook or something like that, right? Oh, you lose 2 points. Oh, you bought Japanese books, you lose 5 points because you don't like Japan. This is what is going to come here because it's already there.
And we're doing that a little bit with contact tracing for COVID, aren't we? So that they can see where you're at and who you're with.
The simple reality is that the technology that CSIS has and all these big tech corporations, they already know where you are. It's just that they don't want to shock the system too much and admit that they have it. Edward Snowden revealed all this back in 2013. He fled to Hong Kong. They wouldn't keep him there, so now he's in Russia.
Yeah.
But the NSA has all of your information. They know your Google searches from like February 9th, 2004 in a bunker in Colorado.
Help me, Rhonda.
Right?
Now, I'm going to tell a story that I've already told. You may have heard it, but it's okay. Just go get a glass of water, come back, because I'm going to tell it again. About a month or so ago, what he's talking about, it already happens here. We don't know it, but it does. I go up the street to a restaurant that me and my daughter go to often. We're coming out of the restaurant. I'm getting ready to back up my parking space. There's somebody waiting to come into my space. When I look back and see the car, I see that there is a woman in this car who is a very famous woman on social media. Her and her son have a social media page together. My daughter actually knows her son. And I say to myself, oh, that's that lady on YouTube. Now, I don't know her name. I don't know her son's name. I couldn't think of the name of their channel because I don't actually follow her. They're just so big online that it's kind of hard not to see them, right? And so I'm like, oh, look, Shadanya. I tell my daughter, that's that one lady. I don't know her name, but that's that lady that be online. And she looks and she go, oh, yeah. We never say her name. We never say her channel. We never say her son's name. So I get ready to back out. We have to pass each other. She sees that I recognize her because I look back and I'm like, oh, she sees me pointing. She's like, oh, this is somebody who must recognize me because I'm big online. So she's very polite about the fact that there are people that know her and she's somewhat of a superstar. So as I'm driving past, she rolls down her window, assuming I'm going to roll down mine. So I roll down mine. She says, hey, and I say, hey, I know you. I be seeing you online. She said, hey, how you doing today? I'm doing good. I said, my daughter, you know, my daughter, Layla, she's hung out with you and your son before. So she goes, oh, yeah, that's my dog. I love Layla. And so I'm like, all right, well, you have a good day. You know, people stop when you go somewhere and you go out places sometimes and people stop you knowing who you are. I go places. I stay in the house a lot and people in the airport, Walmart will be like, oh my God, it's Michi. I don't mind to meet people. But at the end of the day, I already know that when people pull on you that much and she's way bigger than I am, right? You say hi and you say bye. She ready to go eat. Let that lady go on about her business. So I quickly said, all right, you have a good day. We pull off. We talk for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. I drive away. I get home and that night I'm scrolling through my YouTube channel and this lady's content starts coming up through my feed. I'm not subscribed to her. I have never watched her stuff on YouTube in my algorithm. Where I've seen her and she's big is really on Instagram, right? And on TikTok. So this is my thing. Did you hear what he said? They punish you for the people you hang out with. Well, how do you know who the fuck I'm with? I'm in the United States of America. I'm not in any of these places we just talked about. But I want you to know that the systems that are already set up and in place that you are not aware are taking place. They knew who she was, who I was. They were listening into us, looking at our location. A system did this, looking at our location, listening into our phones, even though they weren't in our hand. We weren't calling anybody, and they listened to our conversation. They knew that I was next to who she was. I never said her name, but they know who I am. They know who she is, right? They know who we both are. And they know that she is on social media. And they heard me say that I know I've seen you on social media. And so now, because they all in my business and they know exactly who I drove past and spoke to for 10 seconds of my day, now they are bringing this woman down my algorithm. They know who you talk to, where you've been, and what's going on in your life. Your cell phone is something we are all very used to having. We carry it with us everywhere. We sleep with it next to us. I want you to know that your cell phone is the biggest invasion of privacy. You might as well let the government say, can I come in your house and just put some bugs in your car and everywhere that you seem to go? And worse than that. How many of y'all remember the story about my brother? He came here to do some work and he ain't really my brother. If y'all like who I'm talking about, Oliver. Well, you know, he was like a brother, but I don't fuck with his ass no more. But he came to my house and we were together for a couple of months because we were working on launching MX Network. And so we were working and working and working. So instead of him flying back and forth because he was in New York, he just stayed at my house for a while. And so he had been in my house for over a month. And the phone decided that he had been here so long that this was home. So when he would go places and he got ready to come where it would say, take you home. And he'd click, yeah, and it'll bring him here, right? Because they figured this is his home. We're having an argument one day and I'm telling him, you need to finish the damn work because we got a deadline Okay, you're not just here to chill and sit on your ass, nigga. You here for work. So I need you to do the work. So put the blunt down, stop fucking sitting on your ass, turn off my big ass TV, and do the work that you're here to do. His phone is over on the table. My phone ain't nowhere around, but the phone is listening. The next time he gets in the car to go somewhere and he's on his phone, he shows me. When he gets ready to leave where he leaving, the phone says that his home is the last place he was in New York before he came here. It stopped telling him that my house was home and it called my house work. Do y'all hear what I'm telling you? We were having a conversation and the phone was just laying next to him. Everything you do is already being surveyed. Everywhere you go, everybody you talk to, it's already in a system. And you did agree to it. When you agreed to the terms of your iPhone and you first turned it on and you didn't bother to read any of that shit before you turned the iPhone on. You agreed to it whenever we downloaded an app to be on social media and they asked for permission for our microphones and for our cameras. It's not just so you can go live on their platform and talk. That permission also gives them permission to listen through your microphone. But imagine if you decided to say, I want to be free from this societal thing that they're doing. I don't want to have my privacy invaded. Okay. Get rid of your phone. Be on no social media. Do not use any fucking apps at all. But this is the problem. Society is so far gone that it is a part of what we need to function. You don't realize it, but if you were willing to give it up so your privacy is not invaded, you would have to give up things that you use and are necessary for you to actually interact in society. If you don't abide by where they're taking us, you will be locked out of society. It's the same thing, right? How many of you can function without your cell phone? You can't. Now, somebody stupid, because that is the word for today's live, is going to say, I got a landline, and I just want you to shut up before you even say that dumb shit in my chat, because last time I said that, one of y'all did. We don't give a fuck about your landline. Do you know how many people don't have a landline? More importantly, there's not one payphone left. Most of you probably couldn't function without your cell phone. We're not even going to talk about all of the other things that your cell phone incorporate, from you to be able to get on your banking apps, for you to lock your debit card, unlock your debit card when you need to use it, to have access to all of your credit cards and what your bank accounts are, for anything you need to do, to find out where your children are, where they're going, the different apps that you need to download. Maybe you work, maybe you run business, but you need social media for a certain reason. I'm not a social media person, but I still need it sometimes, necessary for what it is that I have to do for my businesses and things like that. So if you really want your privacy back, it means you will have to exclude yourself from a portion of society. This is exactly how the digital ID is going to be, even more than already what we're dealing with now. Because if you don't accept the digital ID, you will be locked out of society. You won't be able to buy anything. You won't be able to travel anywhere. You won't be able to rent anything. You won't be able to work anywhere, if there's any fucking jobs left. You won't be able to receive a universal basic income if that is something that you're entitled to. You won't be able to do anything. So again, that's the same type of thing on a small scale we're dealing with now. Imagine when things get worse and they're full blown down the road, because right now, probably none of you could honestly say that you could give up your cell phone, all social media, and anything that you use your cell phone for. Somebody's gonna be a tough person and say, I can do that. But as soon as you decided to do that, you would realize just how much you could not do in your life without having that, because they have primed us and prepared us to need these things. Here come one. Al Smith said I could. Okay, Al. So put your phone down, and I don't want to see you around here in the chat no more, because you wouldn't be on YouTube without it. Okay. You wouldn't be sitting here watching me without it. Okay. Okay. Because you need a YouTube account to do that. And you agree to things when it comes to YouTube, right? It's always one. Al says, then be with the beast. Al, shut the hell up. It's always one. Al, let's highlight Al. See, I looked at the chat, and it's always one. Yeah, Al, we looking at you. Yes, we are. You said I can, and then you told us to be with the beast then. It's always a stupid ass person that say that shit. Be with the beast then. Be quiet. Al, you must be a motherfucker who live on some land somewhere. You do not have electricity. You do not need any phone. I don't even know why you're here on YouTube then. You don't need nothing. You don't need nothing in your damn life, since you could just give up everything that you use all of these things for. Okay? Come on, and then take the mark of the beast. He says, I'm with you. I'm not saying you're not with me now, Al. I'm telling you what you're saying is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a typo now. We're going to let you have that one. He said it's a typo. We're going to believe you. I guess the second comment that went with it was a typo too. Take the mark of the beast in. Oh, I believe in God. You know, for how many of you are going to say that taking this digital ID or these things, it's the mark of the beast. Okay, y'all so strong in the Lord. I want to see how many of y'all are going to deny the mark of the beast. And let's see if the Lord come down on the wings of the back of an angel or on a horse and feed y'all and give you the ability to maneuver in society. I want to see this. I want to see all you Christians refuse the mark of the beast. Let's go. Let's go. I'm going to be looking for you when it's time to eat with that digital ID. I'm going to see if the Lord feeds you. I'm going to see if the Lord come and pick you up on the Heaven Express and take you all the places you need to travel. Because without it, you ain't going nowhere. It's easier said than done. And this is why sometimes I want to know if people really understand the ramifications and the seriousness of what I am telling you. Because what you just said is not going to work for none of y'all. You will denounce the Lord if that's what it takes before it's all said and done, Al. I promise you, you will. Okay? A man will do a lot when he watches his family starve or when his stomach begins to touch his back. A man will do a lot when he is made to live outside under a bridge somewhere with his family, because you don't really understand living in the United States of America, what it truly means to be locked out of society. That's not going to be easy for nobody, y'all. I hear a lot of people say that. So, Al, I'm not saying in any way to be disregarding you. I'm just saying you actually bring up a point that is a good one to address, because I've heard a lot of people say this. People say it's the mark of the beast. Okay. And what you believe the mark of the beast is, it is exactly that. Absolutely it is. So how many of you, in the name of Christianity and being strong in your God, how many of you are going to withstand and purposely isolate yourself from society and anything you need to live in order to stand in that? I just want to know how many people are going to stand in it and how many people are going to buckle. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because a lot of people say that, and you're going to find out you lying to yourself in about 10 more minutes. Not literally 10 more minutes, y'all, but real soon, okay? Real soon. Now, if anybody want to do anything, do not wait until this happens and cry for the Lord. What we should do is get our asses up right now, and you should fight against all of these things that are already being done. But the problem is that so much is being done underhanded that we don't realize. A lot of us walk around with our cell phones, and even the examples I just gave you about them listening in, for the average person, we live in this thing called the struggle. And so you go to work every day, you come home. If you're lucky, you have a couple of hours of daylight left. It's wintertime now, so you probably won't have any. It'll be dark on your way driving home. And you try to spend some time with your family and wrap your mind around the stresses of life and maybe find a moment to breathe. And then you got to go to bed, and then it's time to get up and do it all over again. Most people are on this thing of the struggle every day just to survive. Nobody's living. We're just surviving. And it's not your fault. It's nothing against anybody that feels that's the way that their life is. But they do that on purpose so you don't have time to really stop and pay attention and rationalize the things that are happening to you. It's very easy to slide things in on people who are stressed out, people who are struggling, people who are desperate for livelihood. Things that should be afforded to everybody is your God-given right, right? And so it's when you're doing all of that, it's very easy to be distracted. That's just the truth. There's nothing wrong with you if that happens, but that's where a lot of society is. And so people don't have the time to sit and think about all of these things or notice what's going on. But our privacy has been being invaded for a long time now in ways that we don't necessarily realize, right? And it's all setting us up for the goal of where they are taking us, right? So I say that in no disregard to anybody. I just say that in a real vein. The government counts on keeping most of its citizens in this cycle that I'm talking about so that you don't have time to think. You don't have time to get up and fight back. You don't have time to realize how much you are being treaded on. War is being waged against American citizens every single day. And the war is not coming from another country. The war is not coming from somebody we think is an enemy. It's not coming from the Taliban. It's not coming from some people who came into this country who gonna do something. It is your government. That's who's waging war on you. Every single day. It's a silent war. What they call it, a quiet war with silent weapons. We don't see that all of these things are being used against us, but they are. And I'm going to tell you that if you're going to do anything, you don't wait till it happens and then pray that God will work it out. That's not what you do. You got to stop it before it gets here. I tell people all the time, freedom ain't free. It's going to cost you something. And it might cost you everything. I'm going to say that again. Might say it 3 times like Umar Johnson. Freedom ain't free. And this is our freedom at stake. Freedom is not free. It's going to cost you something, and it might cost you everything. I told y'all the other night, I'd rather die on my feet than to live on my knees. Everybody don't feel that way. Everybody don't see what needs to be seen. This is why we won't all collectively get up. And by the time we try to get up and fight back, when what's going on is so obvious that all of the masses cannot deny it, baby, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late. When it's so obvious, everybody wake up out of that fog of, God damn, do you see where we at? Look what they're doing to us. This is not right, baby. It's going to be too late then. It's going to be too late to do anything about it. There are people that go to the airport every day. They ain't got time to fight. I got to catch this fucking plane to go home. I got to catch this plane where I work. So even though there's some bullshit, I'm going to put my face in front of this scanner. Go ahead, scan my face. I heard some lady named Michi and some other folks online telling me that this was crazy and we shouldn't do real ID and I shouldn't be letting them scan my face. They said something about it, but I got to get home. I got to get on this plane. Right now, life is life, and I don't have time to think about shit they say that's coming down the road. That's most people's mindset. Most people. Now, somebody might say, you done said all of this, and you done showed us the UK, and they done talked about Australia. You showed us Barbados. I'm just showing you that it used to be China. It's getting everywhere now. That's the thing. Remember, I told you this is a one world, new world order, one government. The man even told y'all, right? So when we come to one thing that they can track you everywhere, no matter where you go, all of these places need to be connected. And digital ID is going to be the thing that's going to connect you everywhere in these systems, no matter where you go in the world. But the country, in the world, okay? And I know that people might say, but that's them, that's not us. So I'm going to play a clip for you now from the news. Utah, right here in the United States of America, is considering implementing digital ID so that you can see that this is not just me talking to you about a country and somebody say, well, we don't live there. What they got to do with us? What does that have to do with us? We do not live there. You live here and Utah is here.
Big change could be coming to how you prove who you are. Utah State is considering rolling out a digital ID to help prove who you are in your online dealings. But with data breaches on the rise, Jim Spiewak asked if this can be a game changer for your online safety and security.
Everyone is born with identity.
You control your identity. You should control your digital identity.
Christopher Bramwell, Utah's chief privacy officer, is leading the state's effort to create a state-endorsed digital identity system, which would provide residents with a verified digital credential proving they are who they say they are.
So someone being able to pretend that they're me probably wouldn't happen.
The whole point of state-endorsed digital identity is to give you control of your identity so nobody can impersonate you.
Bramwell sees initial uses for digital identity for things like going through TSA or verifying identity for government services. But he also says demand is growing in the private sector.
Why wouldn't you just use an identity you control to log into services and you don't have to worry about reset passwords?
Bramwell says once you receive your credential, the state won't know when you use it and it won't be tracked, but it would be stored securely in something like a digital wallet.
What do we tell people about why this will be secure?
The security is our top priority, but most importantly, how do you recover when there's a security breach without having to do reissuance of identity to everybody in the state?
Utah lawmakers passed Senate Bill 260 this year, which laid the baseline policy that gives individuals the right to digital identity, but not a mandate to opt in. Senator Kirk Cullimore was the bill's sponsor.
Everything is digital now. A lot of what we do, even in interacting with the state, is digital.
With AI advancing rapidly, Cullimore believes many technologies will soon require state endorsement.
Do you feel confident that what is in policy right now as we start to build this out is the most safe and secure?
The laws and the parameters to establish its safety and the security and the principles of freedom surrounding that are getting put into place.
Jim Spiewak, KUTV 2.
So that's the United States. And did you hear how he wanted to tell us, right? He wanted to tell us, look, and I've just been here running my mouth. I ain't even seen these super chats. I'll read out these super chats in a minute. Did you hear how he wanted to tell us this was for our protection? For our safety. This is something they're doing for the benefit of us. This is supposed to be good for us. That's what they always tell us. Isn't that how this works? I mean, we've been making it all this time with forgetting our passwords, and we just go and redo what we need to do. But now all of a sudden we need this for our protection. And what was the key word that you heard there again we talked about earlier? Services. Services. Services, y'all. So whenever you need services, that's the first place they're going to go. They're going to hit the desperate people. The people who receive food stamps. The people who receive Section 8, the people who receive Social Security, disability. These are things in funds. These are government services. So anything that is a government service, they're saying that you need it for that. So it's going to start there. And if you are a person, just like during COVID, they said it was your choice. You know, I find it amazing that they say, well, you don't have to choose it. You know, you don't have to opt in. It's optional. It's always optional. You know, keeping your job during COVID was optional too. I mean, you can get laid off, you can be fired and not pay your bills and not feed your family. I mean, you have that option to lose your job. That is your choice. But if you want to keep this job and this livelihood, oh, you're going to take this vaccination. Sounds the same way, don't it? Oh, for services. Oh, so you don't have to get these services from the government. It's fine. And if you don't want them, you have a choice in the matter. But if you decide to go with the choice of not, you just can't get what we have to offer. So be destitute. Don't receive this help. Don't get your Social Security. Don't get your disability. Don't get your Section 8. Don't get your housing. Don't get your food stamps or anything that the government helps you with. The government helps you with a lot of things. No more government home loans or anything that they give you. There's a lot of services that the government will give you. You will get none of them. And then when there becomes a universal basic income, that will be a government service. To receive this check that they give everybody because they don't allow AI to take everybody's job, you can have it. You're just going to need a digital ID. That's all. I don't want a digital ID. Well, I'm sorry, that's one of the criteria to get it. So either you have to get the digital ID or you're not going to be able to access the services that we have for you. You notice the word? It's a choice. But you also heard the word services. See how they first tied to the service? Now it goes to the services. Once the services get it, that's that easing it in, right? On a certain part, the vulnerable population in this country that won't have any choice, and they'll have to sell their soul, or as y'all would say, take the mark of the beast so that they are able to live. They're going to be forced because they're vulnerable and they're desperate, and they're going to take advantage of that vulnerability. That 75-year-old woman that needs her money and needs her disability or needs her retirement or needs her monthly universal basic income. She needs her Medicaid. She needs her health insurance. She's vulnerable. She's going to take it because she doesn't have a choice. It's life or death. It's livelihood or be locked out. It's not a choice. It's really going to be forced. But once they begin to take it, then it's easier to ease it in on the rest of the population. But they're always going to start with the vulnerable population so that you can get the services that you need. That don't really sound like freedom or a person having a right to choose to me. But this is how they're going to ease it in on everybody. So I just want you to recognize that this is the beginning. If you're looking at China, if you're looking at the UK, you heard Australia already has digital ID. Okay. For anybody who is like Nietzsche, but that's there. That's not here. I just showed you that it's here now too. It's not federal. It's state mandated, right? And different states are going to start to implement this. That's how that works. Once enough states have it, it's going to be easier for the federal government to say, well, we need to implement this for everybody. So they're not going to force it on you yet. They're going to make the other states do it and let them ease us into it, right? That's that preparing you. That's the primer for it. We'll let you see it, and it's not everywhere yet, but it's coming. That's putting your little toe in the water to check the temperature, right? Not everywhere, just in certain places. This is what they're doing. So don't say that digital ID is not in the United States of America, because it is. It is. And Utah is not going to be the last state that is going to do what they're doing. And like I said, in and out like a robbery. And it's 1:20. I've been in here an hour and 21 minutes. Like this video, share this video, subscribe if you have not, hit that notification bell. And if you don't like these commercials you're watching on YouTube, you can go to the description of the YouTube video and you can get your subscription over at MX Network. We have a free subscription where you can watch these lives while they're live, right? After that, you have to have a subscription to watch it, a paid one. But you can watch this without the commercial. So make sure you go down and you do that. But I am going to get out of here. But before I do, I'm going to play one last video for you. I'm going to let you watch your government, your own government, somebody in government who has been trying to warn you for a long time. I'm going to let your government tell you about where we're getting ready to go in this country. And I'll let them leave you with their words.
What we're seeing today is what I call turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. None of them have been able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? what do? We resist. I'm going to tell you 3 rules you all need to know and memorize. Number 1, every power that government takes from us, it will never relinquish voluntarily. Number 2, every power they take from us, they will ultimately abuse to the maximum extent possible. Number 3, nobody in history of the planet has ever complied their way out of totalitarian control. Every capitulation is a signal to the oppressors to impose new forms of torment or torture or compliance or obedience. Every time you comply, you get weaker. Bullies cannot be appeased. It just encourages them to new forms of torture and torment. Every time you say yes, you're getting pushed back to a weaker position. That's why we need to resist today.
That is the words from your own government about your government. Let me read these super chat, you guys. Shout out again to Letitia, the channel member. Shout out to Becoming One Me. Thank you for the $1.99. I apologize. It took me so long to see it. I was trying to stay focused and not let people distract me. So I wasn't even looking at the chat. I missed those. Thank you very much for that. Says they started digital birth certificates in Kenya. I heard about that a while back. So they've actually implemented it already. Okay. They finally have done it because they've talked about it for a while. I actually talked about that a while back. And I played some clips for people about it. And so now they have it. We talked about that. So see. So that means that they're getting this digital thing down for them babies. Right? Soon as you're born, digital. And they starting with the babies. We're going to get there too. Watch. Shout out to My Life Has Been Exchanged for Yours, FBA, with the $5 holla. I appreciate you. Much love, Michi. Don't forget about they getting everybody fingerprint on your phone. Absolutely. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, y'all. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for all the support. He always in here showing some love and support. And shout out to Danielle for the $2 holla. Okay, you just send me an email. I will check it right after this live. I will go over there and check it. Thank you very much, Danielle. So, y'all, with that being said, what I would like to say to you first and foremost, take this video, share this video with somebody that should hear this information. I think I did a really good job. I didn't cuss nobody out tonight. I stayed focused like y'all like me to do, but I be focused. I like to cuss people out and then come on back to my conversation. You know, we have a good laugh. It's a whole lot going on these shows. But I thought this was serious enough that we need to just discuss this and just get to the point of it all, right? And so what I do want to say to everybody, if people are like, Michi, this is crazy. What's going on? What do we do? I would say to each and every one of you is that if there's ever been a time to stand up and fight against something, the time would be now. There's a lot unfolding in our country. And at the end of the day, either you're going to fight now or you're going to suffer later. And you might suffer in the fighting, but that's just what it is, okay? And the more people that are aware and wake up and are able to resist against this is how we're going to get to where we need to be to not have to deal with these things, right? But things are about to get really, really crazy in this country, more than they already are. Because somebody might say, Michi, it's already crazy. Absolutely it is. We have the military on our streets in all of these places. They're talking about sending the military to all these other states so that they're everywhere. They've been discussing that on the news, right? They want to militarize our police. Everything is going to be digital. We just watched last week the police car with the drone on it, infrared lights. You can see through buildings and you have these speakers on it. We're being surveyed everywhere we go. We just saw the black boy in the last video that I uploaded yesterday about him having a Dorito chip bag in his hand. He put it in his pocket, and an AI system that is watching this boy outside of a school. There are cameras everywhere. They alerted the police and said this boy had a gun and it was a chip bag. But AI did that. And I know he's outside, but damn, how much do you have to be watched? There are cameras everywhere. They might as well call us Baby Gaza. This is an open air prison. You can't go anywhere without your face being recognized, surveillance all on you, militarized policing. Do you know that farmers are out here committing suicide left and right? Because the government is shutting down their farms, not buying their beef while giving us tainted beef from Argentina. Do you know that all of the farmers combined don't own no kind of land compared to all the farmland that Bill Gates owns in this country, where Bill Gates is setting up to give us nothing but produce, but with vaccinations in it? He already been approved to put it in his food. 3D printed meat. Produce with vaccinations inside of it. Robots that give birth to babies? Are y'all paying attention? It's already crazy as hell, but it's about to get crazier. Walmart has a hiring freeze. When that hiring freeze is up in 3 years, they'll be firing everybody that's left. They won't be hiring any more people. They're automating all of their shit right now. Amazon just laid off another, 3,000 people. Another company laid off 1,600 people. I just seen a clip online where it was some people in a call center for AT&T. They was finna lay them off in like a week, and half of the crew walked out and said, if you're gonna fire us, fuck it, we leaving now. And the lady went live, was like, damn. And you know why they're firing them all? Because they have automated AI customer service to talk to people now. They don't need you. None of your jobs are safe. None of them. None of them. I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't care what kind of degree you got. I don't care what kind of trade you got. They're all going away. AI is going to replace every single thing that you do. Mark my words. I ain't been wrong yet. All of the things I told you in COVID were coming. A lot of them have already come to fruition, and they're here. I ain't been wrong yet, and I'm not wrong about this either. None of you going to have a job. This is the conditions that we are in this country now. Everything is going really fast in a slippery slope. And I promise you that, and this is not about Trump, but I promise you that when his presidency is up and you look, right? You look up and you see in the next, 3 years? Has he even been the president for a year? It ain't even been a year yet. Look at the shit that done happened in a year. Now, I'm using his presidency as a time frame for y'all. Not because it's Trump, it's the government. I mean, he's part of it. They're using him as the face, but do not be misled and think that Trump is the problem. Because if Trump old ass died tomorrow, there's rumors he got cancer. If he fall out and die tomorrow, hear me when I tell you, all of the things that are happening are going to continue to happen. Him dying wouldn't stop any of it because this is the government's plan. This is not Trump's plan. He's just the man to be the face to help implement it. But this plan was in line long before we even thought about a Trump being a president or you even ever knew who he was. But watch the time frame because they're going to use his presidency to usher all this stuff in so that everybody can stay angry and point the finger at Trump and act like it's not the government. But when he's not the president anymore, they're not going to go backwards and take back all the shit that he's doing. They're going to leave everything he has implemented in place. Everything. It's about to get worse. Some people say it's going to get worse before it get better. No, but it's going to get worse and worse, and it's never going to get better again. Better won't be coming. Worse, worse, and worse. Goddamn, look at where we at now. That's going to be the pattern. There will be no worse before it gets better. It's going to just get worse and stay that way. So I suggest that y'all take serious the things that are happening. I suggest that you prepare yourself for what is coming and what is already here. right? And what are those solutions to that? Because somebody gonna say, well, what's the solution? You can bring something to somebody's attention. It's always stupid. That's the word for the night. Up in the chat. See how I be censoring myself with my cuss words? I'm doing good. I don't need no beeps or nothing. In the chat, who gonna turn around and say, well, you bringing it to our attention. What's the solution? Because I tell y'all what something is, I'm mandated to give the solution to. So I'm going to give you the best solutions that I can, and then we'll end this live tonight. I suggest that all of you do learn to grow your own food. I suggest that all of you learn how to produce some money in the new economy online somewhere, right? That's where all of the new jobs are. If you would like to work for somebody online, Google has classes. I'm going to give you some game right now that I put in my 6-week boot camp. I'm going to give it to you right here. Now, I ain't going to pull up the site. You're going to do some research on your own because this is not class. Okay? If you would like to get in that 6-week boot camp, you can get the link in the description of the YouTube video, and you can see me on November 16th for the next 6 weeks after that, okay? But you can go to Google right now, and you can Google places that will give you free certificates. And for $50, $49.99, you can get certified in a matter of a couple of days and learn how to do marketing with Google as a skill. You can learn how to do SEO. If you don't know what that is, I guess you should be in my class. There's a lot of things that online services and businesses need. And if you want to get a job, then you should learn those new skills. They cost next to nothing. And there are some places that will give you the skills you need for free so that you can do a job for somebody who actually has businesses online, because that's where all the businesses are going. Everything is online. It's the new economy. Right? So I suggest you learn to get a job online, or you learn how to use online to boost your side hustle, or you learn how to work for yourself and use online to do that too. Or you sell a product, or you start a business, or you white label some shit, or you drop ship some shit. And if you don't know what any of that is, then you should probably get to the link in the description of this video. Learn how to grow your own food. I suggest that you look into survival things and stuff that you will need. Water will be very important. You can store water. They have giant 50-gallon tubs at Home Depot. You can buy and fill it with water. Or better yet, learn how to catch rainwater. How it is that you filtered in the process that you do. It's not rocket science. You can do it, and you can look these things up and you can do them, because you need to be able to have a roof over your head. You need to be able to feed yourself, and you need to be able to have clean water, because all of that is getting ready to come into play too. Everything you get is going to cost you something. Don't have a digital ID. Your ass ain't going to get clean water either, because you won't be able to get no water cut on from the water company. And these are the things you will die from. So I suggest you do that. And more importantly, let's not be punk bitches. When it's time to stand up, let's stand up, y'all. Stand up for something. Or become the slaves that we said we was never going to be again. That's your choice. That's it. And that's all. Like the video, share the video, subscribe if you have not. Hit that notification bell, and y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all on the next video or the next live.